Welcome back to Culture Core Academy. I'm Ping, this is Caleb, and here is our review of The Batman. The best Batman has arrived. We'd like you to like, share, and subscribe. Hit all the buttons, do all the show us the love. And we're going to get into this, We think this is the best Batman out of all of the iterations, especially the more recent ones. And we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, look, we know this is a big statement to make. We know that people will cry recency bias. But you know what? We mean what we said, and we are happy to deliver and explain to you why we have just witnessed the best Batman version there is to date.
Yes.
Okay, one of the key factors to Batman's success for this movie is due to the director, Matt Reeves. He's not related to Christopher Reeves' Superman, so just move on away from that. But he deserves massive credit. Reeves made some choices with the film's direction that came across as a stark contrast to the ones that we've been seeing recently, from Christopher Nolan, those from Scott Snyder and the Snyderverse.
This guy needs his props for not putting us through another just sorrowful,
brooding,
whatever you want to say, Batman. Like this edgelord, funny, My Chemical Batman is kind of the most comic accurate out of the pack. It's kind of what Batman is. We don't have to see another origin story with his parents getting murdered. We've seen that a ton of times.
We know.
They found a way to tell it in almost every iteration. Even the Joker movie had the,
It's super common knowledge. It's just as common as we know, Spider-Man gets bit by a spider.
Yeah. And what we did, what we saw this time is they sort of went ahead and went with, okay, you've seen this a bunch of times. Instead of giving us another weird, all these pearls going everywhere in the alley.
Recreation.
Version. Yeah. He instead, Reeves creates a new layer of understanding for us as a viewer with Bruce, and that he's still not he's not brand new. He's not fresh, but he's new. So it's okay. Now we see that he's not done healing. He's not finished. You know.
PTSD still in the mix. All of that.
Yeah.
Storytelling. Mm-hmm. Now, move 2 when it comes to the directorial moves. I think it was a good choice. We both do that. They gave us a younger, just in age-wise, an actual younger version of Batman here. Mm-hmm. All the previous iterations we've seen, it's all been kind of the same. It's always middle-aged. This middle-aged, white dude. Batman always seems like he's 42.
Yeah.
That kind of situation.
Like he's had it up to here.
And he's already almost kind of grizzled veteran, in their prime. They always had the coolest top of the line gadget, all of the big expensive toys. And look, nothing about that is inherently wrong with Batman.
You almost need to have Batman.
Right, you do. But it's just when you've been seeing it for so long, back to back, seeing this was just a little welcome difference. This is a little breath of fresh air.
What you're saying is it was nice to not see a Bat everything, like a Bat credit card.
It was.
Some Bat Nikes and some Bat ice skates.
Dare I say, it was actually nice to see reduced gadgets.
Yeah. He had to rely on his hands.
The younger, more unstable version of this, it makes a lot more sense than, I think you talked about this after the movie. You called it that this makes a lot more sense than that kind of Deus Ex Machina, version, which it was always kind of full of some plot armor.
Yeah.
To enjoy the movies, you had to really ignore sometimes a significant amount of plot armor. But instead, what we got now, we got a Batman that's, he's not quite a 0 year or a year 1 Batman, but he's not at his peak yet.
Yeah, because he hasn't. He's not fighting. He's not fighting aliens and gods yet. And this dude he's trying to catch this.
He's not, and it showed. That's why the tech was pulled back from from the previous movies. They still give you some of the hallmarks. He's still got his grappling hooks. You still see the Batarang, but the super sleek futuristic stuff. That's not there.
Yeah.
The OP, specialized, suits that he used to, deal with Superman, which you would need to barely be able to survive against someone like Superman, that wasn't there. Instead, we get a gritty like recreation or a new version of an early Batmobile that honestly, as somebody who likes cars a lot, I love this Batmobile.
Yeah,
that Batmobile was mean.
It's the slickest one.
It was a mean one. It was, but he still deals with struggle with that. You see it in pieces, in parts, earlier on in the movie, and then even when he takes it out, before you get into that big penguin chase scene, he struggles with it. Like it stalls on him at one point. All these little small things let you know that this is a Batman that is still very much trying to figure out, what his lane really is and how he wants to go about things.
Had a whole motorcycle in his.
An entire motorcycle.
Movies like this stand in a pretty big contrast to what Nolan was doing in the Dark Knight trilogy, because he said that he wanted to make his Batman more realistic and more different, and serious and grittier.
So he said.
So yeah, make it more realistic than the previous cheesy iterations of Batman, like Val Kilmer and freaking George Clooney. And so what does he do? He gives this dude a tank to drive through the city.
It's kind of close, man. GTA Batman, right?
Also, his cowl is stupid. Every time I look at it, I'm like, dude, what is this?
Right.
And his voice?
Who I am underneath. But what I do, that defines me.
Come on.
So instead of all that, we get more of a Batman detective sort of thing, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. But we get that,
You know what Batman is?
Yeah. And you know what? They still kind of let him be, a little bit of a young, moody edgelord, which casting got it right if you wanted to go that route and getting somebody like Pattinson. But hey, you know what? That is a different contrast than the weird Tony Stark in AA version we got with Christian Bale, who seemingly was like almost incapable of actual emotions at large points in times.
Yeah, thank you for giving him a regular voice. And not, Robert Pattinson did a good job on his American accent and all that stuff. He actually does good at that kind of stuff. He has some good movies where he plays. What's that movie? Devil All the Time with Tom Holland. He played it like a dude.
That's true.
It's actually pretty good. But yeah, we've all learned our lesson with this voice technology thing, and I think we need to stay away from the weird Batman voices.
It's for the best. It really is. We're rolling into point 3. And this is a point that at least is closest to my heart because, yes, I'm a comic book nerd and it is what it is. But the comic book accuracy here is immaculate. Or maybe not immaculate, but it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. And it's been one that has kind of lined up the closeness with feeling like a comic book Batman in terms of presentation and how they shot it. It's true. And I mean, again, look, Batman's been around for decades, and so many different writers have come and put their spin on it. But there's still kind of been able to be a core of who Batman is and how he operates established. And that kind of, I thought it had been muddled a little bit at times, but it changed here.
This one, we get back to Batman's core as a detective. This isn't like the superhero movie trope where, you've got this deity who's trying his best to meld with humans and he's overpowered, or some elemental force that, can kill a multitude of people with one wave. You just have a detective dude who's using evidence and analysis to, solve crimes, which is what Batman really always was. That's the element of Batman that gives him his plot armor as well as his money when it comes to, why he can kill a dude who can break his spine with a thought. I don't know.
I mean, 'cause look, they got to do overtime for those situations.
Yeah. This aspect of Batman's characters, in previous versions, has been focused on the hero part of it and the super part of it, where it's like, oh man, Batman can definitely take this many punches from these guys because he's been through so much. Right. And it's like we're not seeing that right now. So we're seeing some sleuth investigative work. He gets his ass beat a couple of times, which is what would happen.
It's true. It's true. And also, for some of y'all who may be confused or faking confusion about what we're saying here with Batman the Detective, don't forget that literally the longest running Batman comic out there is just called Detective Comics.
Yeah, it's over 1,000 issues.
It's over 1,000 issues, still running now. It's It's Detective Comics.
Straight up.
So look, so we have that. Even from a cinematography standpoint, cinematography, that's important. The movie did a lot of things to kind of make it feel like, you were watching a comic in a way. Like if you've read comics and kind of familiar with familiar shots and angles that they use, that happened a lot throughout the movie. And I don't know, it worked out nicely in a way that didn't come across as too cheesy.
Yeah. Like, I think when, we were talking about the Frank Miller thing earlier as far as the aesthetic, I think that this is an update on that. It's like done better. Not saying this is awful, but
I could agree. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is kind of a Dark Knight Returns vibe like that. True.
In terms of like the supporting cast in this movie, we truly believe that the versions of the characters in this movie are the best versions of them. Period.
Yeah, I mean, starting out, you got to give hats off to Paul Dano for his Riddler version.
Much love to Jim Carrey. Much love to Jim Carrey.
Yeah, no disrespect to Jim Carrey. He kind of did his thing there to an extent too, with a more comical animated version. But Dano managed to do something that I don't think anybody been able to do before, and he made Riddler kind of a scary character. Actually,
I'd like to note before we continue that people like Paul Dano and some other people in the movie are normally comedic actors, and they really showed their range by not doing that in this.
Yep, it did.
Yeah.
And look, he played a Riddler that was concerned with uncovering a truth and trying to right an injustice, as opposed to ones I think in the past had always really been more focused on, can I just outsmart Batman?
Yeah. Moving past him, Zoe as Catwoman, there is no better version. I mean, we see combinations of all of the versions, even like the weird parts of Halle Berry's strange version that shouldn't ever come up in conversation again.
Never mention it again. Never.
Michelle Pfeiffer was always solid. Anne Hathaway was pretty good, but there were some shortcomings there because of the material she was. But
true.
Wasn't the best. It was kind of weird. It's like the believability wasn't there. But this time, the way Zoe moved, the way she looked around, the way she acted.
Yeah, I mean, she really did it and seemingly kind of embodied that kind of cool, calm movement you think of with cats. Even like the look, having the short hair. I mean, even like those little scenes like where she's talking in the kitchen, with a glass of milk. Those little touches work. And also, we can't forget the other person of this equation. Shout out to Colin Farrell for the Penguin. I mean, what a transformation.
Yeah, unrecognizable.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here's the thing. I know for a fact a lot of people still went in and out of that movie, probably didn't even realize.
No.
Probably didn't realize, but he held it down as the Penguin. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how they grow that, because, I mean, it's clear he's about to be on his, Kingpin of Gotham type-ish now that, Carmine Falcone went down. Shout out to Carmine, too.
They're about to shout out to Carmine. They're about to give him that show. They're doing pretty good with those HBO shows.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Look, as soon as they said he getting the show, I was like, okay. And then they were like, oh, it's HBO show. I was like, okay. It's like, all right.
We saw Peacemaker, which we didn't even do a review for. We're going to have to do that just because.
Yeah, but if you please don't tell me you missed that one.
Man, that was...
But I digress. Colin Farrell is going to do well in The Penguin, and he did well in this movie, as long as everybody else did. We got a black Jim Gordon. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but no, not only did we get a black Jim Gordon, we got Jeffrey Wright.
Right, not just any.
They were shelling out that casting bread.
They really did. They really did. They really spared no expense.
Yeah,
they really spared no expense on the casting. You got Jeffrey Wright. I mean, and then look at the sheer amount of British talent they contracted. They're not cheap. That's high quality acting. They're not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, shit, Robert.
Right, exactly. But you know what? All y'all came together and y'all put it down into a movie that was good. Look, we're rolling here into our concluding thoughts. Before we get there, of course, if you have some issues or you have some praise for what we had to say, y'all know what to do. Like, subscribe, and follow.
Share this video.
Share this video.
And cuss us out in the comments.
Yeah, do what you got to do. We're prepared for it. But look,
we really are.
Here we are in conclusion, and this movie is a success.
Yeah.
It's a good return to form. Is it all perfect? Of course not.
No, but this is a story that makes sense. You know, this Batman had to do some real life detective shit to stop a QAnon dude from basically fading an entire city, which is what a Batman comic would be like. Instead of, oh man, I always found it funny and hard to believe and like hard to like get on when Aaron Eckhart just decided to roll up everywhere with this coin and start shooting people in the face.
They really rushed his character
Tommy
development.
Lee Jones Two-Face made more sense to me than that shit.
They really rushed his character development.
I was like, wait a minute. So he's already like, I'd understand like he's understandably pissed for like half of his face getting messed up.
True.
So he's just gonna like, oh screw it now, dude. You councilman, bro.
And hey, look, at the end of the day, there's never gonna be a better Two-Face than the black Two-Face from the animated cartoon.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But look, we had some good things here. We had some good progress. One thing that got left behind, from the old previous ones is we didn't get the whole maybe the villain is right kind of vibe.
Yeah, because that's really annoying, and I'm really sick of that being done over and over again to glamorize, otherwise horrible individuals.
It became a little bit too much like a easy kind of get out of jail free card situation.
Yeah, because that was always weird. It's like, no, these guys were never right.
Hitting the home stretch again, like we said, we feel like there can be some new hope here for the Batman franchise. At least we can't really say the whole DCEU franchise because that's a whole other situation. But for the Batman section of it, for the Gothamverse, if you will, looking pretty good.
Yes. The way this story was told, I understand why it was not connected to the overarching DCEU from the other movies with, Jason Momoa, Aquaman, and Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. I can understand why this one just wouldn't make sense in that universe because it's got something else going on and people will be too worried about, what's Superman doing right now. And this has got a lot better story being told than, being worried about when Barry Allen's going to randomly run up here from Central City out of nowhere.
We don't need all that. Gotham has enough going on, enough problems of its own.
Or why this guy's like talking to like a dude who's half a robot and why that guy's like that.
Yeah, so for now, we can all, kind of take some nice positive feelings towards DC, okay? We don't know what's going on with them in the future because they keep pushing back stuff, but
I've given up.
The last TV show was good. This was good.
Yeah, but I'm sick of them. I'm sick of y'all saying that this Batman, you don't like political Batman movies, and then what do you like? What's he supposed to do? Who's he supposed to fight? I mean,
y'all could just stop. Just don't watch. Just don't watch them.
I mean, like literally every Batman story that's not involving him, using science to stop a god or an alien, is about something, if not overly political, then roughly political. I mean, the Court of Owls is, full of politicians, and his dad was a politician.
Yep. They had some deep ties, as we saw in this movie, but you know what?
A lot of his villains are politicians.
You know what? We digress, though, because truthfully, we're going to have a whole video for all of y'all people that don't seem to understand the connection between politics and popular culture.
Ooh, boy.
We got to have a whole video just for y'all on that.
God loves, man kills.
Right. But until we do, and until the next time, y'all know what it is. It's Ping. It's Caleb. Until next time, the Academy is out.